Hello, my name is Dominic Seppel, and I have the pleasure today of welcoming you to the third annual State of Lebanon Community School Corporation. Thank you for attending and caring about education and the future leaders Lebanon is making. Now, if you will, please stand with me as I lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated. Again, my name is Dominic Seppel. I am the proud son of Paul and Karen Seppel, the fifth Seppel Lebanon Tiger to graduate from Lebanon High School, and I am also very blessed and humbled to be selected by the Community Foundation of Boone County as a 2019 Lilly Endowment Community Scholar. This is not my honor alone, but belongs to my village, all my teachers, all of my many community mentors, and most importantly, my parents and siblings, who stood by me and encouraged me all the way. I began ninth grade at Lebanon High School as a new kid, not knowing hardly anyone. I spent the first 8 years at Traders Point Academy previously. I jumped into Lebanon High School, though, head first, and I never looked back. You never gave me a reason to. Lebanon High School has taught me that a quality education is not just taking classes and passing time, but more importantly, lighting a fire within students to make us want to learn. That fire can only be fueled by dedicated teachers and mentors who make learning fun and take time to explain why it's important we're learning. Thank you, Lebanon Community School Corporation, for my quality education and finding and keeping amazing staff who truly care and pour into their students. Lebanon High School has encouraged and enabled me to understand things from multiple perspectives. This opens up the world and helps us to connect with everyone. The more we learn, the more we can help, and the better our world will be. Thank you. At this time, we will have the Haiti B. Stokes student ambassadors lead us in their Pride Pledge. Thank you.
Please stand as we say the Life Goal Pledge. Repeat after us.
I will treat people right even if I don't feel like it.
I will treat people right even if I don't feel like it.
I will do the right thing even if I don't feel like it.
I will do the right thing even if I don't feel like it.
My willpower is stronger than what I think or how I feel.
My willpower is stronger than what I think or what I feel.
I am smarter than I think I am.
I am smarter than I think I am.
All things are possible.
All things are possible.
Good news is coming my way.
Good news is coming my way.
You may be seated.
Thank you for that Pride Pledge. It was great. I'm Carter Ridge. I'm a senior at Lebanon High School. I've attended Lebanon Community School Corporation my whole career. I have gotten the pleasure to be involved in the Vincennes Precision Machining Program out at the Vincennes Gene Haas Tech Building out by Taco Bell. I really enjoy that program. It's a big step in the right way for us, and I've decided to go ahead and go to Vincennes University and finish out my degree. So I think that's a really big step. I got a few credits going to that class this year, so it was a big thing for me. A lot less money I have to pay, so it was great. Would members of a school board please stand up? I would like to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Taylor.
You would think after 42 years in education, someone would learn not to follow kids, because it just can't be topped. And so I think what we've seen to start off our third annual State of the Schools, and what we'll close with to see our students will once again reaffirm anything that I might possibly have to share with you. And what I have to share is Lebanon Community Schools is in good shape, good state, and good future. I do want to give a quick thanks to all the students that are here. They reflect really what all the members in this room represent. We have members from our city government, from our first responders, from our community support agencies, and we have parents, family members here. And our students are representative of every hope, every frustration, and every challenge that every adult in this room has faced. But I will tell you, they are better prepared. They are smarter than they think they are, because they're pretty smart. And they are ready to accept the challenges. And so many of us who've gone through public school and have taken advantage of those opportunities, we're equally prepared to enter a world. But none of us are as challenged as our students today, because the world they were entering or will be entering is so much different than anything that those of us in this room ever expected to take on. Today in school classrooms here in Lebanon, and indeed around Indiana and through the country, teachers who are the foundation, the heart, the soul, and the motivation for our future are trying to prepare these young men and women for jobs that don't exist. They're preparing them to deal with society issues that are influenced by technology, an uncertain political world, an uncertain global world, to deal with those challenges. And I'm here to tell you that at least here in Lebanon Community Schools, and I think I can speak for many of my peers around the state of Indiana, they are well prepared to take those challenges on. So I compliment and congratulate each and every student that's here, from leading the pledge to conducting musical intros to so eloquently introducing and closing this event. Our young people are great, not only representatives of their peers, but they are great representatives of our community, and they will be great members of our society. And that comes through a school system that is well prepared and well supported to move that educational process along. And we're not talking academic preparation, we're talking preparation for life. And that brief exposure you had to our Pride initiative is exactly that. Reading, writing, and arithmetic have been, will be, and will continue to be important for young people to learn. But in addition to those academics, empathy, understanding, global awareness, sympathy, all are traits that will be critical as they move through life and move into leadership positions, whether it's leading a household, which is probably as challenging as any leadership we have before us today, or leading a nation. They're well prepared. So for Dom and Carter, and Julie will be up here in a little bit. Julia will be up here. I want to say thank you in advance. They are representative, more than any other young people in this room, of my 13 years as superintendent. They started kindergarten the same day I started as superintendent. And so we've had paths that have kind of moved forward. From elementary school, that first day of kindergarten where we were all eyes wide open, and we were all pretty sure, from those in the kindergarten classroom to the brand new superintendent, that we could make a huge difference in this world. Through middle school, where challenges came, maybe some doubts came, but we started to formulate, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. To that day, just a few short weeks from now, when they will walk across the stage and be recognized for their academic accomplishments and basically walk through the gateway to their future. And so I feel very close to this graduating class. I'm very proud to have that association. Just a quick story. How many parents here have stepped on a Lego? It hurts, but it's a Lego. So a few months ago, I was here in the high school walking down the hallways, and I hear, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Taylor. And a young student came up and said, I want to give you this. And it was a Lego made out of aluminum that had been designed by a team of Lebanon students at the Gene Haas Center. Now think about that. A block of aluminum, a raw block of aluminum that they designed and manufactured. So the Lego itself is simply representative of the skill set. And so Carter was that young man that came down the hallway with a grin and a sense of pride that still is etched in my mind. And it equals the academic accomplishments that are of 1% of all students in the United States, and the confidence to stand before a group of adults and peers and community leaders and provide an introduction and a statement that transcends generations of participation in Lebanon School. So I tell you, while I'm here to talk about Lebanon Community Schools, I really want to reaffirm to that staff that's here, to those parents that are here, to those community members here, your school system is an outstanding educational institution because of two main reasons. Teachers that are unwavering in their dedication and commitment, that teach because it's a passion, not a job. It's a calling, not a placement. And students that take full advantage and give as much as they get and contribute to ensure that those generations that come behind have the benefit of their learning and their trial and error. So indeed, it's my pleasure to stand before you today in what will be my last State of the Schools. As I think many of you know, I'll be retiring at the end of this year. But I'm very comfortable in that, somewhat apprehensive, because it's hard when you're not in schools to walk into a kindergarten room and still be perceived as you're supposed to be there and not someone they call the police on. But nonetheless, the transition that we will be undergoing is kind of reflective of the transition that this school corporation has undergone over the last decade. The new superintendent, I'm pleased to announce, if you're not familiar already, is Dr. John Milliman. Dr. Milliman comes to us from Washington Township, where he's been an assistant superintendent, focusing primarily on curriculum instruction and those other aspects in that office. He has a high school principal at Hamilton Southeastern and Franklin Community. He's a proud father of son Noah, who will be a sophomore at Purdue next year. But more importantly, he and his wife are excited, just like my wife and I were, to become a part of this community. And so Dr. Millman will assume the pleasure and the privilege of being superintendent of this school corporation in July. And so I'm very confident that the transition from one superintendent to the other will be as positive and as seamless as going from kindergarten to graduation and have the same benefit. So please, when you have a chance, and Dr. Milliman will be around the community, and there's there was a great article in the Reporter, and please have a chance to welcome him and his wife and the family. Hopefully he will have the privilege to stand before you again for our next State of the Schools and share with you as much pride and as much happiness as I do about things that we have accomplished. I mentioned transition. I have my own transition and moving forward, but we as a school corporation, we as a community have transitioned tremendously over the last decade. When I came 24 years ago, we were still pretty much considered to be a small community, basically built around agrarian industry, whether it was farming or farming support. A few parents transitioned out of town to work at other jobs, but we were the small town. And we prided ourselves on that, and we should have. This is a great community. But over the years, for a variety of different reasons that we could spend a lot of time talking about, we have transitioned as a community into more of a suburban community. About 80% of the parents of students in Lebanon Community Schools commute from Lebanon to jobs in Indianapolis, Lafayette, and surrounding communities. So we are a suburban community, and I'm here to say that that's a good thing for us. Because as we've transitioned from a small town to a suburban kind of bedroom community, we've kept a lot of our small town values and kept a lot of those unique tendencies and characteristics that make living in a small town such a positive experience. But not only has Lebanon transitioned, Boone County has transitioned over those years. And I can say the same thing. I've been very privileged to be involved in different organizations, both here in the community and in Boone County. And I've seen how that transition has been received. As any transition, it doesn't come without pain, but that pain has always been pushed through and the challenges have been addressed, and the end result has been very positive. So our school corporation is very reflective of that transition. Through growth and development as Lebanon Community Schools, we've really seen in the last several years the Whitestown community, or Worth Township, become a much bigger factor in Lebanon Community Schools. Through not only the growth in their residential housing, but also their commercial and retail. So Whitestown is now much more than that small four-way stop somewhere a little east of Lebanon that had a motorcycle shop and a diner. Whitestown is the fastest growing community in the state of Indiana, with, I believe, an average household age of about 31 or 32 years. Just a little younger than me, not much. But that reflects quite a bit of opportunity for us, but it also shows a lot of challenge that we have impact there. So we're well aware of the developments that have come about as a school corporation that we have to be responsive to, and I'm pleased to report that we are being responsive. Being responsive in planning, in preparation, and in programming. Today, as we prepare students, there's always lots of questions when you go through transition. I know the staff had a lot of questions when who's the new superintendent and what's he like or what's she like and what are they going to do in this. Community has lots of questions to the school corporation. And you should, because it's through those questions that we reflect, we correct, we improve, or we complement ourselves. And so today I don't want to change that. I do want to throw in a little more technology. 10 years ago, if we'd have done this, we'd have put 3x5 cards on the table with a pencil that said Lebanon Community Schools, and we said, write your questions there. Today, if you look into your pamphlet, you will see that there is a, help me on this, QRC code. With your smartphone, which when I started, I thought I was cool with a flip phone. We know how that's transitioned now. But you can ask questions, and we will have a lot of time at the end of the presentation today to take and address those questions. And if we have too many questions, please feel free to stay afterwards and ask me, or you can contact me directly or contact Ms. Totterud at our office. But we want to take opportunity for you to have inquiry and response. So please feel free as you have questions now, go ahead and submit those. Those will show up electronically, and we'll address those as we go through. If through the conversation or the presentation you have additional questions, please feel free to do that as well. So before I get down the road too far, it's always a privilege, and I say I'm a third-generation superintendent from a family of educators and recognize and respect, and I'm honored to be still considered an educator. And we have with us today our 2018-2019 Teachers of the Year. For those that aren't familiar, in Lebanon schools, we always, at the end of every year, for the last 13 years, have recognized each school's peer-chosen, peer-selected, well-deserving, representative of their school and identified as Teacher of the Year. So at this time, if I could ask those Teachers of the Year to rise, please. And if we could recognize them as well-deserving. Thank you very much. The cross-section of experience is reflective in that group from fine arts, music, special education, kindergarten, classrooms across the corporation. That is the breadth of impact they have. We just don't have good math teachers. We don't have good fourth grade teachers. We have great teachers that are supported by great staff, that are helped along by great administrators, but more importantly are supported by outstanding community. And whether that's Whitestown or Lebanon, whether that's Perry Township or Worth Township or Center Township, that opportunity to have those factors come together for one purpose is what makes Lebanon so unique. That purpose are the young men and women that join our school system. So I'm privileged to share those teachers with you today that are outstanding in what they do, but will tell you to an individual that they simply are reflective of their staffs at their schools, that they don't do anything special. But I will tell you, I've been in the classrooms, and they do things that are special there. So, all right, if we could, our commitment has shifted over a number of years, but yet it's shifted in the right direction. Our commitment here is to our students, our staff, and our community. And the commitment then we have is a total overall commitment. We just don't focus on one set group. We don't say just we're going to work with students, because if we don't have that triangle of support and we don't continue to focus on that, we fall down and don't reach the optimum opportunity to instruct kids. And so through that, I cannot predict the future, but I will tell you that our commitment to those three critical elements will continue. As I've had conversation with Dr. Milliman, and as our school board of trustees went through the process of evaluating and critiquing candidates, that was the foundation of what they used in order to have the continuity of commitment that we need to continue to make positive changes in school. Let's start with student learning and achievement, if we could. In student learning and achievement, what we are really focused on is looking at diverse and dynamic kind of learning. We talk about rigor, we talk about relevance, we talk about relationships. I don't care if you're in the classroom, you're a business owner, you're a civic leader, you're a first responder. Those three elements have to go in every aspect of what you do. We have to have rigor in what we apply or learn. It has to be relevant. Today's young man, young woman no longer will accept just do it because I tell you to do it. That was a great one from my mom and dad. Don't ask questions, just do it. Okay, and I did. But today we have to have relevance. And that's true. We have to connect the world to the preparation. And then be smart enough to get out of the way and allow those young people to excel with the skill sets that they've developed. And the relationships, we just have to develop those, because I don't care where you're at, what you're doing. If you don't have the positive relationships with students so they feel someone cares about them, that they feel someone is actually concerned, that someone celebrates their achievements and feels their disappointment, none of that comes together. So those three elements are really at the core of what we do in lesson preparation and presentation, and how we look at how we develop students. So through that effort, we've diversified in many ways our instructional approach. We've moved away from stand and deliver. If you go in a classroom today, very seldom will you find 6 rows of 5 desks and the teacher at the front. You'll find working groups. You'll find collaborative learning. You'll find motion and movement. You'll find teacher as more of a facilitator and less as a deliverer. You'll find students working with students. You'll find a more responsive approach to instruction that ties in the relevancy component that I just mentioned as well. And so with that, we've actually added a number of additional strategies throughout the last several years that have included our technology, which is now an everyday part of our life. Included diversified learning environments to where we have work-based learning. And we're again fortunate that we send a number of students out into the real world in our community to have early experiences. So you don't wait until you walk the stage your senior year and start into, do I go to college? Do I go to the workforce? Do I go to the military? What do I do? We have opportunity for students to evaluate and make determinations early in their educational career that allows them to be more informed and more influential in the decisions they make in the future. And so with that, that has really turned our school system from just school buildings to learning environments. So whether that environment is at Perry Worth, or whether it's at the middle school, or Harney, or Central, or Hattie B. Stokes, or the high school, those are learning environments now. They're just not school buildings. So our commitment to excellence is also, we're seeing benefit. So as you talk about state of the schools, I will share with you, there's a number of examples. Whether it's a percussion presentation with elementary students, or it's the ability for us to look at national recognition for academic achievement. So with Julie Kupke here as our recent National Merit Scholar, the prestige of that honor is that 1% of all high school students achieve that award. Now, no question, hard work, dedication, commitment, and effort are what go into that achievement. But I think Julie will tell you that teachers along the way, from kindergarten the first day, to our teachers here at Lebanon High School, and parents, and community members, and church members, all go to help develop that. But that excellence comes through that collaborative effort. So we want to recognize some of that. Last year, actually, Kate Stanley was a recipient of this award, was a 2018 graduate as well. So we're very complimented about that. But we're quick to recognize it's not a school achievement. It's an individual student achievement with lots of areas of support. And so towards the continuation of that kind of academic recognition, we have we've been informed recently, Mr. O'Rourke shared us, that we have 2 additional national merit semifinalists. And so it is I won't say strenuous process, but it's not a quick process in which we go through different stages. So we're proud to report that. We really are. With opportunities today, what we try to do is not only prepare our students for productive adult lives and contributions to society, but also to prepare them so when they leave high school, they have a few more advantages than, say, they did years ago. I'm pleased to report that we have 67% of our graduates that leave high school, walk the stage, with 3 or more hours of college credit. Now, from a student standpoint, that's a great advantage. From a parent standpoint, that is a great opportunity to save some money, because we have students leave with as many as 15 and 20 hours and more of college credit. So that's something we're very proud of, the dual credit programs we have. And through our Pride program, which we've now had about 4 years in place, and I think you saw some of that early, Worth and Central, or new musical opportunities, we're proud of our staff and their commitment to the new experiences that our students are there. And this is tough for staff sometimes, because they have to be just as aware and knowledgeable of some of these changes. So to demonstrate a little of that, I would ask that you welcome members of our 5th grade music program under the direction of Miss Caitlin Walters to perform for us Colors of the Wind on ukuleles. We want to be sensitive to your time. There's several items specifically relating to school safety. There's a reason we want to make sure our schools are safe, and they're walking across the stage right now in all of our schools. But some of the things we've done with regards to ensuring that ukuleles can be in our classes and be in our performances is we've really put a focus on school safety with regards to not only our physical plant, but also our policies and procedures. And I only go over this very quickly because I do want to get to a point to where we can have some question and answer. And so when we look at what we do with regards to school safety, we've actually activated a school safety staff team, and they've been instrumental in helping us move through some of the where their boots are on the ground more than some others and helping us to define school safety. But I have to point out too, I go back to the partnership, it's our community partners. Not only our mayor and his office, but also fire and police and first responders of support from EMTs. They're all interactive with our schools, and so I just quickly want to touch base on that and tell you that we are ahead of many in the state. Starting with the interaction we have, the availability that our schools are open to all first responders so they can have firsthand knowledge of our floor plans and our policies and procedures. But more importantly, too, we have the funding that allows us this year to expand our school resource officer program. And so now we have a school resource officer dedicated to each school and is present the whole time children are here. And so that is a rarity in our state, and that has been made possible by the contribution from the city of over $300,000 a year. And that's not something that goes, that we as a school system have to go back and ask for. It's been presented. So Mayor Gentry and his council have been more than generous in that. And so there's a lot of good things that we have there as far as community support. A couple other things real quickly. I want to point out that we had last year a LCSC survey to parents and students. Had phenomenal response. There were no ukulele players, and there were no kids singing and pledging and outstanding young adults kind of introing themselves. This was just community members upon their own voluntarily participating in a survey that was instrumental in how we develop our strategic plan. And so I want to speak real briefly. That same opportunity will now exist, and it exists already, that we will have a 2019 LCSC survey. It's now open. You can go to our website. The survey is open until the 31st of May. I would encourage you or anyone you speak to participate in that survey. It just gives this corporation guidance and direction and input, but it also will allow the new superintendent to have a fresh perspective of what is in the community's thought process as far as what the schools can do. Very quickly, I could stay up here for 4 hours. I believe and have great passion for the school corporation. 24 years of my professional life have been spent here. It's not getting on a soapbox, it's just speaking from my heart. We have some problems, we have some issues, growth, trying to deal with some of the societal influences that we have with social media, trying to make sure that our professional staff is compensated as they so well deserve, dealing with everything from state legislators to parents that are wanting to have great influence and direct impact. But yet, above all of the challenges, in my heart, is a school system that keeps their focus at the level of students. And everything that's done in this school corporation, whether you agree or disagree, you have to at least understand that it's done with students' best interest. And with that, the state of our school corporation, as long as we keep that focus, as long as we don't lose sight that we're about children, we're about preparing young adults, we're about helping to facilitate their ability to be successful as they move through life, the state of Lebanon Community Schools will always be good. It will be strong. The partnerships that we have with parents and community, the partnerships that we have with industry and business will always be engaged in what we do. It will be part of our foundation. And so I could sit here and talk about programs and opportunities and humorous and sad scenarios that occur every day in the life of Lebanon Community Schools. But I will simply say, Lebanon Community School Corporation is a great place for kids. It's a great school corporation for our community. And we're headed and continue to move in the right direction. And for that, I thank everyone in the room. I thank you for a career that I am extremely proud of. I thank you for the opportunities that you've given to me, my children, my family. But I thank you for the love and commitment you have for our children, and for the dedication that as a community, as educators, as administrators, as interested community members, that you have to ensure we can provide the best we can. So thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of our students, our graduating seniors, my peers in that 13-year journey we've taken together. Thank you for those that come up here and say with pride, these are the things I can do. I hope you listened to that and took it into your heart, because they speak words of honesty and significance. And so I thank you all for that opportunity. At this time, I would like to go ahead and open it up to some question and answers. We have about 10, 15 minutes. So Ms. Todderud has the questions you submitted, and so she'll read those, and I'll try to respond as best I can.
Thank you. The first question is, what do you think is the greatest challenge LCSC is facing today?
There's a number of societal challenges that we face. As I said, social media is something that we all live with, but it also has tremendous impact. If you take social media influence to the level of students, it used to be if you had an issue at school, you went home at night and you got away from it. You went home on the weekend, you got away from it. If somebody said your mother wore army boots, it only bothered you until you got on the bus and went home. Today with social media, our students are confronted with not only all kinds of outside influences that they have to deal with, but it's confronted 24/7, 365. Social media also leads to a lot of misinformation. I know in this latest environment we have fake news. Well, that fake news translates to inappropriate or misinformation that leads to rumors and leads to conflict. So that's one that kids face. As a corporation, and I think as a community, we have to address the issue of our growth in Worth Township. While we are Lebanon Community School Corporation, we can't lose sight of the fact that an ever-growing number of our students and our tax-paying families are residing in Worth Township. That doesn't take away from Center or Perry. It just says, well, now we have to adjust. So we have to accommodate whatever challenges are going to become our way, whether that's looking at transportation, whether that's looking at dealing with a different type of school requirement, embracing the diversity that comes with that. Those are challenges that I think in the next 3 to 5 years are going to have to be addressed. So those are probably two of the biggest, I think.
Okay. What 3 points would you make about LCSC to a family considering the Lebanon or Whitestown area for a new home?
Quality, safety, and care. I think those are the things I would describe each and every one of our school systems with. Pardon me. Quality of our educational programming, but our facilities. We have phenomenal facilities, as evidenced by this room. And the facilities then enable our educational programming to not only be appropriate in content, but wide in breadth of application. So when we have young men and women that can travel to different work sites and learn specific skills and have an economic policy and economic opportunity in our Boone County that allows our kids to do that, that's great. And so I think those are things. And then put all that together. None of it makes any difference if you don't walk into a classroom and see a teacher that's on the floor caring about kids, getting down and getting at it with the kids, being concerned about students that don't come to school, being concerned about the conflicts and the challenges they face when they go home, because all those come back through the school door the next day. And if the teacher in the classroom is the one constant positive that child has, you just cannot replace that. So I would say we are a corporation, and we can talk about technology, and we can talk about computers, and we can talk about innovation, and we can talk about creativity. But if you don't talk about care and compassion with kids, It's kind of irrelevant. So those would be the three things I would sell that I've found personally as a parent in this school corporation.
Thank you. While a 94% graduation rate is impressive, what is LCSC doing to better support students who are struggling to earn diplomas?
Struggling has to be a very broad term. Are you struggling academically? We have a number of initiatives in place. We have a number of resources in place. And so if you have academics concerns, whether it's some with learning disability or whether it's some just in comprehension of complex, more advanced content-driven academic area and curriculum, we have those initiatives in place. Whether it's innovation, whether it's technology-based, whether it's one-on-one, those are there. Struggling students that come through with social-emotional, I'm proud to say, if you've followed the news lately, we're one of the few school corporations that stepped up and contracted directly with a mental health provider. Now, if you look around, the state's all about that now, so there's money in the budget. But before that, the school board stepped up and said, you know, this is an area we need to look at. And so we've contracted with outside mental health providers. We have great relationships with our partners, Boone County Mental Health, and with Inwell, Aspire, our ministerial association. So we are dealing with those challenges as well. So we just don't blind ourselves to say, we're teachers, we're about education, we're about school. We're about doing what's best for children. And so those challenges are met in a variety of different ways.
Thank you. As the current leader of LCSC, what advice will you give to the incoming superintendent?
I shared with Dr. Millman, my goal is to be supportive and invisible. One of my biggest challenges is how do I step away from something I'm so passionate about and not leave that lingering Bob Taylor footprint. So the opportunities that Dr. Millman has had have been presented to him first through the interview process, where he was given a full and transparent overview of the school corporation. I will tell you, there were at least 17 schools that were looking for superintendents in the state when we were. We had the highest number of qualified applicants apply. This is a desirable school corporation. And so the quality of applicants that we got was extremely high. The number of applicants we got was extremely high. And the process by which those applications were vetted and those individuals were interviewed and the decision was made left no doubt to that candidate, this is an opportunity that is not something that we should thank you for applying for, but you should thank us for giving you the opportunity. And so what I plan and what we've done, we've already started this with the new superintendent, is created some transition information. We've made available, he's been here, and many of you or several of you came to visit him. We had a couple of community nights, there'll be more. But sharing of information and sharing of priorities. And probably the biggest one I want to share with him is the asset that we have in our community partnerships and engaging our community in the educational process. So there's a lot of nuances, a lot of legislative issues we have to deal with, and a lot of challenges that some are financially based, some are based on new requirements. And I have every confidence that this new superintendent will be as fortunate as I am and was, as to have quality individuals from support and instruction and administration, to be quite honest, just to know how to utilize those folks and let them do their job, because they do a great job. So.
Thank you. In the interest of time, this will be our last question. How will the district continue to enhance student learning through technology?
I don't have an answer, because I can't tell you what technology is going to be like. We utilize technology as a support opportunity. We will be going into e-learning next year. E-learning is not designed to be a replacement for the classroom or the teacher, but e-learning is designed to enhance the educational program and to maximize our effectiveness. You know, we looked at things like, I've been to recent conferences where we talk about artificial intelligence. So if you have Alexa at home, that's a little scary, but she gives the weather pretty quick. But how will artificial intelligence be used? We'll be able to use facial recognition. I've seen classrooms designed with technology that will analyze student faces and be able to determine when there's anxiety. So if they're taking tests, they can look and through facial recognition, you can identify a student that has some anxiety issues. You can identify a student that should or shouldn't be there. So the integration of technology, I can only speak not to the specifics of what that will be, but I can speak to the philosophy of the corporation, which is to take advantage of all educational supports to enhance student learning and student achievement. So if that's in artificial intelligence, or if that is some type of technology that's not been created, this is a school corporation that has a foundational philosophy of not just jumping on the bandwagon to say, wow, look at us, but take an in-depth approach and an integrated analyzation of that technology from classroom teachers to administration to board governance to say, how will this best impact and affect learning? So we will continue to see technology. I can't tell you what's going to be there. So I told you, my flip phone, I thought that was pretty cool, and where's that at now? But the technology that students will have to interact with, the preparation we're trying to do now is to make them lifelong learners, so when new technology comes along, they don't go to their kids like we do and say, hey, can you program this for me? They'll be able to be leaders in that. So technology is again, an integral part of our educational program. And the specific technology, I can say that this is also a corporation that is fiscally prudent, and so we just don't go out and buy the latest and greatest, which is tomorrow's worst and last, but we look closely at how that technology will be influenced. And so we use teachers in STEM education, we use teachers in special needs education that integrate a lot of those things that help enhance learning. So that's where we're at. So again, I thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity. There are a bunch of questions. I'll get with Ms. Totterud. We'll go through that. If you have some specific that you would like to ask, I'll be glad to stay around. Otherwise, I think we'll try to post some of those and get those to respond. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Julie Kupke. Julie, come forward, please. And Julie will give us our closing comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor, both for your words and for everything you've done for our school district in the last 13 years. My name is Julie Rose Kupke. I'm a 12th grader here, senior, and I'll be graduating here May 31st, which I'm really excited for. I'm the 5th daughter of 6, and I'm the 3rd daughter of 4 who will be graduating here from Lebanon High School, and I am absolutely honored to be standing in front of you today as one of the 3 seniors who have been selected to speak in front of you. I've gone to Lebanon since kindergarten. I started at Perryworth, went to Perryworth kindergarten 1st grade, transferred to Stokes in 2nd grade to attend the academy. I was one of the last students who was part of the academy, and I returned to Perryworth in 3rd grade to finish out elementary school. 6th grade, I headed to the middle school where I was taught by so many amazing teachers, including Mrs. Springer, who happens to be here today, one of my absolute favorite teachers of all time. And then I headed up to the high school where I've been for the last 4 years. And the amount of opportunities I've had because of being part of the school district is so amazing to me. I could have changed schools a couple times. I believe it was sophomore year, I got the opportunity to attend the Indiana Academy at Ball State campus for high schoolers to attend college level classes in high school. I ended up not taking that opportunity because of the opportunities I had here, and I thought those were greater. The number one thing for me was the health careers department, which has been an integral part of my high school experience, but also the marching band and the show choir and the musicals and plays. I've been a 4-year member of the marching band and a 2-year drum major, which has been an amazing experience for me to build leadership qualities, and a 2-year dance captain of Charisma, our show choir here as well. I've participated in all 4 musicals and 3 of the 4 plays, and it's been an amazing experience to be able to get up on stage and overcome my fear of stage fright. As I mentioned before, though, my number one, the best thing that's been part of my high school education being here is the Health Careers program. That's a 3-year program that we have here at the high school. You start your sophomore year in a general health education course. Junior year, you split the year. The first semester is medical terminology, and the second semester is a rotation through the different health departments in our community. And then senior year, which was honestly the best year for me, you take an entire 2-period internship every other day for the entirety of the school year. to be in a field that you're interested in. For me, I've always been interested in biomedical engineering, and specifically in prosthetics. So for the past year, and this past school year, I've been at the Zionsville Medical Center every other day for about 2 to 2.5 hours every day to study under Matt Habacher, who's a clinical practitioner of prosthetics there in their prosthetics clinic. It's been an amazing experience, and it's really confirmed what I want to do with my life, and that is to study biomedical engineering. In the fall of 2019, I'll be attending The Ohio State University to study biomedical engineering and to specialize in prosthetics. I have a 10-year plan at this point, 4 years of college, and then another probably 6 to 9 years past that to attain my doctorate degree. And then I want to eventually work on, the connection between the brain and a prosthesis, so you can actually train a prosthesis to connect to the brain and to respond therefore. But the only reason I am so committed to that 10-year plan is because I've had the opportunities I've had here. If I had gone to another school preparation, I can't guarantee that I would have had the same sureness of what I'm doing for the rest of my life, and I'm so thankful to LCSC for that. And that concludes what I want to say. So thank you very much for attending the 2019 LCSC State of the Schools. It means so much to me and to all of us up here that you're here today. Thank you.